This isn't easy for me to admit. I got a fire inside and some words I know I can't keep in. I see faith turning into a show of Sundays and sermons and words getting caught in the flow.
Hey my lovely YouTubers, welcome back to my YouTube channel with me, your girl, Morgan Tracy J. If you hear a lot of rumbling in the background, it's because it's storming here like really bad. But actually guys, my OGs know about this room. This right here was the little square cubicle I had to build my ministry. Years ago guys, I looked at this room and I had a vision. This room actually was storage. It was my high school bedroom and it had been storage for all the years I was at college, okay? And when I moved back to my parents' house, I seen that this room was gonna be my ministry room. I wanna tell you guys, all I had was these 4 pink walls, okay? And I turned these 4 pink walls not only into a ministry room, but I freaking built an online thing in this room. In this room, guys, I laid on this floor week after week and I prayed. I'd cry out to God. In this room, I would come and my whole focus, I have not ever taken this off. I've never changed it. And this is for 3-4 years ago. Record, study, live. That was all I did for years, guys. I would come into this room week after week, day after day. And you know what? This right here was my time to shine. This is where I could come and be that better version of myself. This is where I could come and be the real Morgan because it didn't make sense to my everyday life. This is where I could come and take the filter off and just be real about who I am. And so now it's years later and I'm actually home and I'm working in here. And then we kind of use this as a storage now to store a lot of our prom dresses. But now when I'm home, I sit here and I work and do things like that. But I want to tell you about the power in seeing and using what's right before you. I want to tell you, back in the day, I didn't have the money. I didn't have anything. So all I seen was this room that I could turn into something. I want to tell you, all I seen was what was right before me. And sometimes we get to a place where we think we need to go out here and get all these other things. We need to grab the microphone. We can't get started until we do this and do that. I want to tell you, ladies, I stood at this very door years ago and said, this right here is where I'm going to start my ministry. In this junky room with hot pink walls at the time, I'm gonna start it in here. And you know, the first thing I started doing was taking stuff out of here. I had to get this room ready, but that was me going before, and that was me continuing to go for the vision, to use what I already had. I want to tell you, you ain't gotta have the money. You don't gotta come from the perfect background. You don't gotta have all these things you think you need, but what you gotta do is have a vision. When I stood here years ago at this door, I didn't see just a junky pink walled room. I didn't see a storage room, guys. I had a vision. I seen a room that I was going to show up in and record my videos. I seen a room where I was going to have a blank wall that I could stand in front of and record and talk. I seen a room where I was going to put a desk and a computer where I could go ahead and do what I was called to do. I seen a room that was not only going to cover my devotion time, but it was going to be where I showed up week after week to be my better version. Guys, I seen that, and I want to tell you, can you see something beyond what your eyes see today? Can you look at something and see something bigger? If you cannot, that means you need to ask God for a vision. That means you need to ask God for a vision. But you should be able to look at something and see something beyond. Because I want to tell you, our God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So you have to believe within yourself that there is something higher than what you see today. Now today we use this room as storage again, low-key. But it's for my ministry and we use it as storage. And when I come home, this is the room I come to. I come in here and I work. When I'm available to come home, and thank God I can work from anywhere, I come in here and I put in work. But we do use it as storage again for the ministry. But I want to tell you guys, all I did was see a room and I turned that four-wall room into something that expands beyond this town, expands beyond this house. When I stood here, I was only just Morgan and I had a vision. But today, what I created in this room has went all across the world. I want to tell you, don't limit your vision because of your circumstances. Don't limit your vision because of where you come from and what you look like, boo. No, I want you to believe, and I want you to stand there and see something beyond what you've ever seen before. I want you to go beyond what you've seen thus far. Because guys, all this room was pink walls, and it was stacked up with so much junk. I'm not gonna lie. stood here at this very door almost 3 years ago, and I seen something different. And not only that, once I created this room and turned it into what it is today, what it was back then too, once I created this room, I still seen things beyond. I seen that where I was in this room was not where I was always going to be. I seen that what I was creating in this room was not only going to be for me, it was going to be for others. Even when there was nobody watching my content, I still would come in this room and create because I knew the vision that was in my heart. And I want to tell you, are you willing to continue to go even if no one is watching your stuff? Even if you don't have the inventory or the money yet, are you still willing to create? Because I want you to see, these are called humble beginnings, but boo, there was nothing in here for seasons. It was just me and a desk. And I would show up every single day to a desk and a vision. And I want to tell you, that's all it is still to this day. It's just a desk and a vision. Now you know my name. Now you see the things I do. But at one time, I was hoping for these things. And I want to encourage somebody today where you're at. Use what you got, boo. If it's a desk and a vision, if it's 4 walls, if it's just a message, if it's a word, if it's a story, if it's a testimony, if it's just putting inspirational stuff on your wall to remind you. Guys, I want to tell you, this room used to be my place. I would have scriptures on the wall and notes on the wall. I would have a chair in the corner with a pillow on it that I would go and sit and do devotion at. I would have things all over my desk because this was where I came and I created. And I want to tell you right now, this is the glory of the Lord, girl. You go to glory. So if you got a vision in you, don't stop where you're at. Don't get weary because you're in the hallway. Don't get weary because it ain't all what you've seen it come to be yet. I want to tell you, when I was sitting there doing devotion, when I get down on my knees on this floor and pray, when I pull a yoga mat out and lay on it and talk to the Lord about where I was going through, when I'd get out in the garden and pray, guys, it was all for you. It was all to get to the next level for you. It was to make sure I was doing what God told me to do for you. I want you to get to a place well, you're not afraid to go for it. And don't despise the humble beginnings. Don't despise just the room and the desk. Don't despise the old broke down laptop. Don't despise recording on your phone. Don't despise not having a microphone. Don't despise not having lights. Don't despise those moments, because it's in those moments where God is building you up, where he's building your faith and your stamina. He's building a character and morals and persistence inside of you, boo. He's building you up. So don't despise those moments. And I'm here recording in this room and doing some work today in this room and working on some ministry stuff. And all I can do is feel exuberant and excited because God turned those 4 pink walls into all of this, into all of this. And that warms my heart so much. That the day I stood at this door and looked at this room and I seen something for ministry in here. That was just the beginning. And now it's years later and it's still growing. I'm still grateful, and I know there's still so much more I desire to do. But I'm so grateful for where we're at. And so I hope that this inspires you. That this humble beginning for me inspires you to go for what God has for you. Don't fret on it. Don't go weary. Don't run away from it. Keep going, boo. It's time for your glow up, and it's time to go to the next level in your life. You've been at the same level for far too long. God has more for you. So yeah, write your notes and encourage yourself along the journey, but continue to believe that there is more for you. Continue to believe the places that you are today is not where you're going to be in the next year. Continue to believe that the things you're working on today, God is going to surpass every single thing. Continue to believe that the financial place you're at right now, God is going to surpass that. Continue to believe within your spirit that where you are right now, this is just not it. There is more to come for you. Continue to believe, daughters of God. So my hope and goal to you is that I show you this little office that I created years ago. To show all that I had was a vision, guys. I didn't have numbers. I didn't have people believing in me. My mama was the only one, and she fully didn't even understand it. But she'd be like, Okay, girl, go ahead, do what you gonna do. No one understood what I was talking about. No one understood me, and I felt so odd, and I felt weird, and I felt behind in life, and I felt like a failure. But I want to tell you, when you got Jesus, you got all you need. And that's all I knew, was I had a vision, and I had faith, and I believed that God had called me, and so I was gonna walk that journey out, even if I had to miss out on outings, even if no one made sense in my life, even if people would come home like my brother and tell me I was doing things wrong, even all that, I would still show up. And I wanted you to show up for your dreams, boo. Show up. I hope my story inspires you. I hope my story inspires you and encourages you. Show up for your dreams. It's time for your glow up. It's time for you to go to the next level. So it feels so good. It feels so good to like reflect. So anyways, I love you guys. I hope this encouraged you and blessed you, and I'll see you in my next one.
I don't need no stained glass to be washed in